Welcome back, you guys, to another episode. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for upcoming episodes. Today we are going to cover, is owning a motorcycle expensive? For the most part, owning a motorcycle, getting it is not too expensive, really. Like my R3 right here, out the door, brand new, 2019. Listing price is $5,300. Out the door it's gonna go up a little bit, especially with sales tax, and of course those dealers love to hit you with their little prices. So I got about for $5,500, so it's not too bad. It's pretty inexpensive. Payments are pretty cheap depending on how your credit is. Really it all is based on your credit, but really not too bad. Monthly payments. Insurance on this thing is very cheap. I think I pay about $130 a year on this motorcycle for insurance. So that's fairly cheap. The things that are going to get expensive on this motorcycle is really when you start modding. When you start throwing some mods on there, that's going to start adding up on the price. Maintenance, if you're not too mechanically inclined, that's going to be adding up on the price. Oil changes on this thing is not like a normal car. It's like you go into a oil lube place, it's going to be like $30 depending on where you go to get an oil change for your car. For the motorcycle, it's going to be a lot different. It's probably depending on the places, anywhere from $130 to $200. So it's like that's something you really want to learn how to do, is change out your own oils, lubricate your chains, clean your chains, really know how to get all that going. It's like especially checking your tires, the flex on your chain. So really it depends on how mechanically inclined you are. But really, all in all, it's like if you leave a bike bone stock, it's not going to be very expensive at all, especially if you start doing your own oil changes. So, and I've already gone over mods on my motorcycle. Like most of them were pretty inexpensive. I think the biggest purchase I've had on this bike so far is my power commander that I have not installed yet, because I'm still waiting for my Yoshimura R77. That should be pretty awesome once that gets on this bike. But again, the halo cap was pretty expensive just because you got to buy the halo lid and the cap separately. All in all, that was about $150, $170. But mostly everything's fairly cheap. All these are pretty expensive right here. The ones I've been looking at are about $400, and I was like, I think I might just powder coat those bad boys. Instead of getting a near rear set. Granted, once I start leaning a little bit more, you probably want to get a higher rear set just so you're not scraping. But all in all, motorcycle is fairly cheap depending on the extent you go with the mods and if you want to do your own maintenance on it. There are going to be some things you're going to have to take it to the shop for, but really very inexpensive, especially with the smaller bikes. The bigger the bike, the more expensive, obviously. Like I was looking at when I was first starting off, I was looking at Harleys, but then I was like, maintenance nightmares from what I heard. Beautiful bikes, one day I will have one, but yeah, the one I was looking at was like almost like I think it was about $26,000. I was like, it's the price of a car. But all in all, YZF R3, baby. Not too expensive. Not too expensive at all, especially if you get a used one. If you go out and get a used one or an older model, when you get a new one that's not even used, that's just an older model for a little cheaper for price. But I've seen these things for sale anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. So you got to be really careful. You got to bring somebody along with you that really knows what they're looking for on a motorcycle, especially because you're only on two wheels. You want to make sure everything's working properly. But other than that, man, I wouldn't give my bike up for anything. It's very beautiful. And we got I don't know if that's CHP or LAPD doing their road test today. That's pretty cool. I am down here in South Pasadena at the beautiful Rose Bowl Stadium. Obviously, there's a golf course right here. Stadium's right there. We'll take a cruise around, check out the sights. A lot of people use this as a little jog around. I think it's about a 3-mile hike, all the way around. So a lot of people come here to walk, run, jog, do a little exercising. I came down here. This is where I actually learned to drive when I was younger. This is where I came to learn on a motorcycle. A huge parking lot. It's kind of what you want, It's like something that's not too busy, empty. Like these guys are setting up their cones. I have like a little small set of cones that I use to set up and kind of would work on, you know, slow speed maneuvers. But this was a perfect spot for me. This is where I've actually been practicing my wheelies at. I don't think I'll be practicing that today because I don't feel like getting a ticket or anything from these guys. I don't think they'd bother me at all, but looks like they have a lot of different things going on today. They got people taking bus tests over there, some big rig testing over there, and it looks like some coppers taking their tests over here. So good. A lot of people use it. You know, the Rose Bowl when it's not in use, a lot of people use these parking lots as to drive around and try their skills. So, but other than that, beautiful bike. I love mine. Definitely need something bigger, especially for the wifey, so she could get on it. She was like, I am not getting on the back of that bike, and I was like, well, it's not really, an R3 is not really meant to dual ride. So other than that, man, you guys have a great one. Like I said, if you guys haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. I do have more content coming. We'll do a little wheelie series here, if I'm trying to, you know, just trying to learn them. Beginner teaching beginners, baby. I love it. But an R3 can wheelie, you know, it's like you just got to get the RPMs a little bit higher up there. You can't power wheelie on this thing, that's for sure. I've tried. It just won't lift it up. So, got to go out from a slow start, get those RPMs up, and get it going. The rear sprocket definitely helps out with that by going up in the rear. So, other than that, guys, have a great one. Peace.